it'd be good to sort of get your sense on where you think we are in the cycle right now. Obviously, Trump's in, Bitcoin strategic reserves being talking about, but the price is horrendous. So where do you think we are? Like we had a debate last week, actually, all the meme coins launching. We're feeling a little bit nervous. It's like the top signal that we all know and love. So it'd be good to get your thoughts. Where do you think we're at?
Yeah, so I think one of the most important things to be thinking about, like everybody just looks at crypto and Bitcoin and they're like, oh, the halving was last year. Why aren't we pumping? But they're not taking into account where we are in the global macro space, right? We're still in a tightening phase. That means the central banks are taking liquidity out of the entire economy. So it's very difficult for things that are low cap stocks or cryptos like altcoins, which are basically low cap stocks, let's be honest, to pump and do really well in this type of environment. I think that's why this cycle is actually going to go a bit longer than most people think, and we're going to be a bit more drawn out. And yeah, you said the price is horrendous. Well, Bitcoin's at like just under 100K right now. For me, that's not too horrendous, but altcoins have been absolutely decimated. So it's sort of mirroring very similar to what we're seeing in the stock market with the Magnificent Seven. And then, you got Palantir and MicroStrategy obviously doing really well. Coinbase has done really well. But outside of that, not very many stocks have done very well, right? So the Mag 7 in NVIDIA have just dragged everything up. And it's sort of same in crypto, like Bitcoin's dragged everything up with the ETF news and all that sort of stuff. So the only real movement we've had this cycle has been from pure adoption. We haven't had any movement, which is what usually moves crypto, especially if you look at the last couple of cycles. It's all come from the macroeconomic landscape of massive amounts of liquidity, COVID, right? They printed 40% of all USD in a couple of years, right? So huge liquidity injections versus this cycle, at the time we're in right now in this current cycle, they're sucking $2 trillion out of the economy. So how the hell are altcoins going to pump like crazy when they're taking $2 trillion out versus putting trillions of dollars into the economy?
Yeah. And this is really compounded by high interest rates. People don't have the disposable income that they used to have to be able to speculate or invest or even save because it's being chewed up through their home loan or their car loan or credit card debt. Savings rates are at an all-time low. And yeah, hopefully that's about to change in the coming months.
It's really interesting that you mentioned before about the liquidity event. This morning, there was a story that came out that Elon and Trump want to give $5,000 to everyone that is a taxpayer with the $2 trillion of saving with Doge. Do you think these sort of liquidity events are coming? And you think that you're pretty much saying the show hasn't really started yet?
Yeah, I don't think so, for sure. Like if you look at the manufacturing index that we follow, which is the ISM, that only just crossed over 50. And if you look at the lead ISM, which is new orders for next month, etc., that's actually pushing up now. First time it's really pushed up properly above 50 since it entered into a bear market, which was March in 2021. Basically, manufacturing, which is what we use to measure the ISM chart, is what we use to measure the business cycle. So that's been basically in a bear market and topped in March 2021. And we all know crypto ended up having that extra push, probably thanks to Sam Bankman-Fried, and Solana had its final run and all that sort of stuff. We ended up topping. And then the Federal Reserve on the 10th of November 2021, they announced we're going to move into a tightening phase again from being in quantitative easing. So I think most people don't understand how much macro actually plays into account what happens in the crypto market. And they think everything is just the 4-year cycles are all just based around the Bitcoin halving, where it's actually the Bitcoin halving, which removes supply. But then you also need the demand side, which comes from the business cycle that comes from easing of financial conditions. Whereas we're still in a very